Hey guys, and welcome to episode 5 with Live with Lewis. Here we got Kristi Smith Bailey, Republican candidate for County Clerk. Did you want to run for County Clerk?
Well, I kind of always wanted to be clerk, especially after working there and, learning everything and how important of an office that is. But I really started getting asked by people, by voters, friends, to run because I knew what I was doing. I knew the job. So I just decided it was time to go ahead and go.
So, pardon me, I don't really know much about like that kind of stuff. What does the county clerk consist of?
So it's the office you license your vehicles in.
Okay.
So you give your license plates, your titles. If you borrow money, we file your liens. When you buy a house, we have your deed. We have your mortgage. When you get married, we have your marriage license. When you vote, our office runs the elections. So kind of an important office because
Right.
at one time or another, everyone has to come to that office.
Right. Some way or another.
Yeah.
So there was a forum last night.
Yeah.
How did that go?
So it went pretty good. I was nervous as could be. I was first, completely first.
First with everyone.
First with everyone. Yes.
Really?
First time ever being in front of that many people since high school, probably. Yeah. And first with giving my little 2-minute speech that I did not even try to remember because I had wrote so many and went over them. I knew it, but
you knew what you wanted to say, but
I knew what I wanted to say, and I knew I didn't want to stumble and I didn't want to get choked up or anything. So I said, listen, I'm not even going to try to memorize it. I'm just going to read it. So I was good.
Yeah. So with a forum, is it kind of like in a debate in a way, or like obviously you say something? Did your opponent get to say anything? Or?
So my opponent apparently tested positive with the flu, so he was not able to be there, and I hope he's feeling better and hope he's recovered by now. So I literally sat up there by myself with, in front of a room full of people, cameras and microphones. I did my little speech, and then they asked me 2 questions. So I got to answer those and then give my ending statement. At the end of that, they did read his statement.
Okay. Yeah, I watched a little bit of it, and he said one thing that, like I said, I don't really know how this works, but one thing he said, I have it wrote down here. Sorry, this is my notes. He said that he set goals. Did you have anything to say that?
Well, he set goals, I'm guessing, when he ran the first time, in 2018 when he won, that he was going to bring the office into the 21st century.
Okay.
So I think he stated that he got new computer systems. Well, they're state systems. Every county, listen, if you want to renew your tags in Lexington, good luck standing in line, but it's all a statewide system. Okay. You could go to Menifee County. It's all the same. So every computer in the state, every office uses the same system, the same computers. They're on a 5-year rotation schedule.
Okay.
So I believe it was 2009 I was there and we got new computers. And then again in 2014. So 2019 was the 5th year. 2024, we'll get new computers regardless of who the clerk is.
Right.
Yeah.
So once you get elected, what do you think your main focus would be?
So my main focus is, just as I've always done, when I've worked there, is servicing people, waiting on them. They don't know what they're doing when they come in there. A lot of times people are intimidated because,
I need somebody to help me. I'll go ahead and tell you.
Yeah. Well, listen, the first time I went in, I was scared to death. I had no idea what I was supposed to do. Sign where, sign what, I need what, so just making sure that when somebody comes in, they've taken off a day's work, they're taking half a day off, or they're squeezing it in on their lunch hour.
Right.
That we can service them, get them what they need, and get them out the door, hopefully without a return trip.
Right.
There's always times when somebody doesn't have something signed the right way, or, this or that, and they have to come back. But 2 or 3 times, I don't want that. I want to be able to take care of their issue and help them out.
So are you married?
I am married. My husband's Daryl Bailey. We got married in 2004. Kind of interesting. I met him at the clerk's office. When you fill out those little survey questions all the time, where'd you meet your spouse? In the clerk's office.
Yeah.
He's Gene Bailey's son. So he was my boss's son at the time.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So he was in the office, and a couple of co-workers, I'll throw them under the bus here, Tish Glover and Wendy Puckett, said, oh, we've got the perfect person for you to go on a date with. So I went on a date with him while Gene was at a clerk's convention. So I said, listen, this is going to end really good or really bad.
Right.
And we've been married 18 years and together 21. So turned out pretty good. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what part of the county do you live in?
So I live out Cranston. Where Cranston's at, 377. I live on Holly Fork.
Okay.
Yep. That's where I've lived. Well, we've lived in the same exact spot for almost 20 years.
Really?
In the same house. Yep.
That's
and
awesome.
It's actually on the same piece of property that we lived on when I was born, and my mom lives right beside me. So we still own the same property. We bought a little piece off of her when we moved our double wide in. But that's home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have any kids?
I have kids, yes. So when I got with my husband, he had a 16-year-old, a 5-year-old, and a 4-month-old.
Really?
Yeah. So the 16-year-old lived in North Carolina with her mom, but the younger two, he did get custody of. So that's actually one reason a couple years, about 4.5, 5 years after working there, I decided to quit and stay home and take care of them. And then 2 other kids came along. So with a house full of 4 and my husband being a trucker, he was gone all the time. So it just kind of worked out better for us, for me to stay home for several years. Kept them from going to daycare. Who wants to work just to pay daycare? Because with 4 kids, that's what it would be. Yeah. So I had Chelsea Bailey, which she's married to Walker Thompson. So Chelsea Walker. Thompson. Yeah. So then we have 2 grandkids with her because she's got Brenham and Brecken. And then I have Alexis Bailey. She's 21 and graduated Brown County in 19. Yeah. She lives over in Maysville working at a bank.
Oh, that's good.
Trey Bailey, which is actually, he'll shoot me, but it's Daryl Draburn Bailey the third. So that's why he's Trey.
Yeah.
He's a senior at high school right now and works at Wholesale Auto Parts.
Yeah.
And goes to the gym.
That's how I met him. Yeah.
And then Emma is Emma Rose Bailey. She's my baby.
Yeah.
She's 15 and is a sophomore.
Yeah.
Yep. So I got 2 kids still at home and 2 grown. And then of course Leslie's oh gosh, I won't say her age now. I have to do some math to factor up that. But she's married and has 7 kids.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So there's a whole lot of grandkids there. So it's a lot of fun come Christmas time.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Yeah. Holidays is probably crazy.
Well, and I'm one of 8.
Wow.
So
you're coming from a big family.
So I have. You mean name them all?
If you want.
Listen, I have 5 brothers, and it's kind of funny because 3 of them start with J's. One of them's middle name is J. So it's like you have to say them in age order, to get them straight. And then they're all military. Yeah. So I have Lisa, my older sister. Yeah. She lives in Florida, and she's married to her wife, Allison. Lives down around West Palm Beach, Lake Worth. So there's a beach that we get to visit.
Oh, that's good.
I have my brother Daniel, who's in Special Forces in the Army in Fort Bragg, North Carolina. And then I'm the next one. And then Joe and John are twins. Joe is actually married to Melanie Jones from Carlisle. Okay. They have 2 kids, also a senior and a sophomore, a boy and a girl. Yeah. They live just outside of DC in Virginia. And then his twin, John, is getting ready to retire from the National Guard with 26 years.
Wow.
And he just started a new job this summer at App Harvest as their safety director.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's back. So he's back home.
He's back home. Yeah. Yeah. He's I've had a lot of people question about my sign on 801, the great big one right there. Yeah. That's his house. So he, kind of comes with the territory.
Right.
And then Jeremy's next. He lives here. He works for G&W Construction, and he's married to Amber Smith that has Bombshells Hair Salon.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So that's my little brother. And then Tim Smith lives in Flemingsburg. He's my little brother. He's a city cop over there. Been a cop for, I'm not going to say how many years because I don't want to get it wrong, but he's also getting ready to retire from the National Guard with 22 years.
Oh, well, wow. Yeah. So your whole family's military?
My whole family's military. My dad was military. My grandfather was military. My uncle was military. I have 4 first cousins that were all military. I believe 2 either retired or they were in long enough to retire. Yeah. Listen, I learned a long time ago that I do not keep up with what rank they are, how long they're in, because there's too many of them. I'm not getting them confused and saying it wrong. My husband was in the Air Force. Gotcha. So we're full military. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. So sorry, back to the clerk. Sorry. Yeah.
Listen, I like to talk.
Yeah. So how long in total do you think you worked at the clerk's office?
So it's a little over 11 years.
11 years.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Some of it was part-time, some of it was grants. So not all of it was paid into retirement.
Yeah.
When I left my first time, young and kind of stupid. I cashed in my retirement, so I don't have that anyway. So I'm not looking to go back in to, gain this big, huge retirement. I really am just in it for helping the people.
Right.
Yeah. Of course. I mean, paycheck will be nice, but I haven't worked this whole year. So
yeah, I've been focusing on the campaign.
Yes, absolutely. Knocking doors.
Yeah. Knocking doors. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So did you go to school around here or?
Yes. So I grew up on my same little piece of property out in Holly. So I went to Tilden Hog. Actually 1 year while I was out there, my dad was actually a janitor there.
Really?
Yeah. So Tilden Hog for all my siblings, all my kids. Middle school here. My dad had moved to Florida. It's about 1986. So when it came high school time, it's like, Mom, this is awesome. I love it here, but I'm a girl and I'm a teenager and I'm going to the beach.
Yeah.
So I did move to Florida and lived with my dad, met myself and my older brother. And we went to Fort Myers where he lived at. So he was down there about almost 20 years. So that was our vacation. That was our home away from home. So lots of prayers out for the hurricane right now. I've got awful friends that have lost their houses and it's terrible. It's so much worse than the news is showing.
Yeah.
But so I'm local.
Now I have a question that I ask everybody.
Okay.
If you could live anywhere, where would it be and why?
Well, I get asked this quite a bit because I've been so many places with my husband in his semi. We've traveled all over the places. I've went in the truck with him to Washington State, to Las Vegas. I actually flew to Las Vegas and met him there one time and had to fly back by myself. But I always come back to Kentucky. Yeah. I always come back to Moorhead. Yeah. So the beach is wonderful, all these good places, but these little hills and the green grass, it's home.
Yeah. It seems like every time I leave, I just want to come home.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. We went on vacation. Me and my wife did. We went on vacation this past summer and we went to Seattle and it wasn't for me.
Mm-hmm.
I can barely drive around here. Driving through 6 lanes, it's just way too much to handle.
Yeah.
And that was the first time I ever flew.
Oh.
And on the way there, I heard a bump, and you're on a plane, you hear a bump. It turns out one of our engines failed.
Oh gosh.
And we was met at the runway by 3 fire trucks.
Oh,
my very first flight.
Yeah.
And everybody said, "Oh, it's fine, it's all right." And I said, "Never again. I will never do this again." And then the way back, it was fine. It done nothing. Everything.
But you kind of didn't have a choice but to fly
again to get home. I thought about driving, but then I was like, "Well, it's gonna take me, days to get back."
Several days. I've been on that trip.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've flown 3 times. First time my sister was having brain surgery.
Really?
So I flew to Florida by myself. I was like, I don't know, 23, 24, young, scared to death. And then my dad had cancer. Yeah. So I flew to Florida for his surgeries. And then I actually flew to Las Vegas. That's a long flight.
Yeah.
Sitting by yourself. You get to get cozy and friendly with your neighbor sitting beside you.
But on our way back, I think that's the only thing that saved me. This guy, it was my wife, me, and then some random stranger.
Yeah.
And I said, "Buddy, you don't know me. I don't know you, but we're best friends now." Yeah. I said, if we're best friends.
Yeah, you should exchange phone numbers and be like, "When you flying again?"
We did actually.
There you go.
He had some pictures. I think he was from Cincinnati.
Okay.
And he took pictures. They were coming back from Hawaii. And he had pictures and he showed us, and my wife wanted one. I said, "Hey, do you care to send me that picture?"
Yeah.
And he said, "Yeah, that's fine." But he had a daughter and a son, and they were real young. And he kept on saying, "See, they're handling it fine." I'm like, "Well, I bet you they've been on a plane before, because I haven't." But so other than all the campaign stuff, what else do you do? You have any hobbies?
So I love gardening. I did not grow a garden this year because I just knew I was going to be too busy. Kind of wish I had because it might have been a little bit of a stress reliever, but
yeah. I'm sure it's stressful.
It is very stressful. I don't know. I don't know how to say this the right way, but I kind of feel like I should be more stressed.
Yeah.
But getting out and talking to people, like, as I'm talking here, has been so much fun.
Yeah.
And I'll knock on a door and it'll be somebody that I waited on that remembers me from 10 years ago. Right. It's like, "Oh, you helped me do this and this and this. I remember." And that's why I want to be clerk. Yeah. That's why I want to go back to work in that office.
A friendly face that people know.
A friendly face that people know that will help you, even if it has nothing to do with our office.
Yeah.
Being in there for so long, you get familiar with all the other offices.
Yeah.
So if you Google courthouse, if you Google clerk's office, you're going to get 784-5212.
Yeah.
Guaranteed. So people call us for the most random things all the time.
Yeah.
And it's like, hey, you know, I've had this call before. Let me transfer you to this person.
Yeah.
If they can't help you, call me back. We'll find somebody else.
Yeah.
You know,
It's like before we started, I had some questions that I didn't know how to answer. And I mean, you helped me right off the bat. So
yeah.
I appreciate you for that.
Yeah.
But so you have anything else you want to try to touch on?
So my plan, being clerk,
yeah,
is just to make sure everyone on the front line is trained in everything. People have their specialties, obviously, but you know, if they're on vacation, you should not get turned away. Cause like I said, you know, you took the day off to come in there, you're on your lunch hour or whatever. We want to get those fixed. So everybody needs to be trained. I'll sit down and wait on you myself.
Right.
Handling an $8 million budget is not easy.
Yeah, it's probably nothing. It's nothing to sneeze at.
No, listen, and there's so many. That is a fee office. So when you start January 1, you literally walk in with zero.
Yeah.
If payday is in 15 days, you better hope the customers are coming in to renewing their tags, because otherwise you don't have any money.
Really?
Yeah. We've actually been delayed on our paycheck. I think only like once or twice, maybe just a day or two. But there's so much of that money that gets passed straight on to the other entities. You know, we give money each month to the library, the health department, the school board, the state, the county, the sheriff's office, you know, the county attorney's office. Depending on what fees we've collected, it gets dispersed. And we keep a very small portion.
Yeah, I've never thought like how. I mean, obviously, like the city has their money, but I never really thought about how they get their money.
So this is the only office that does not get money from the city or the state.
Yeah. You disperse all the money.
We disperse the money and we collect your taxpayer dollars.
Yeah.
So literally, when you come in and renew your tags or you record your deed, you're signing my paycheck every time. So I feel that, you know, I need to be a public servant and be there for you. Even the deputies. I mean, it's everybody's paycheck is based on you coming in and paying your taxes.
Wow. That's crazy. I didn't know.
Yeah. So, I mean, like every pad of paper, everything is your money.
Huh. That's crazy.
What we don't spend, we hand over to the fiscal court at the end of the year, the beginning of the next year. And then we're audited on everything that goes through there. Certain things, you know, unless it benefits you, we're not allowed to spend money.
Right.
So we get to be first name basis with the auditors real quick. Because I don't want to come up a year later and find out that, hey, I spent money on something I wasn't supposed to. Because then it comes out of my pocket.
Yeah. We don't want that.
No, your money needs to be accounted for. It needs to be done correctly on a daily basis.
Yeah. Well, it seems like you're ready for the job.
Well, I hope so. That's why I'm running November 8th.
Guys, make sure you go out there and make sure you vote. First off, let's just make sure you vote, and just get out there for Kristi, and you know, just give her your vote.
Yeah, check my box because I'm the first one on the ballot.
First one on the ballot,
just like last night at the forum.
Yeah. All righty. Thank you.
Thank you.